strange to be live. It's been a really long time since I've gone live. Took a little bit of a hiatus. And then all this real estate stuff just gave me that push I needed to get back on. So I'm very blessed to have Miss Charlotte here. And we're going to talk about all things real estate related. And obviously, we're going to be talking about the NAR lawsuit, how that affects buyers agents, and anything else. I don't want it to be limited to that. Charlotte is a phenomenal lender. So anybody has any lending questions outside of this, please don't hesitate. Real quick, if you're here, let us know. I already see Chrissy on. Hi, Chrissy.
Hey, Chrissy.
Put your name in here. Tell us where you're from. We want to know, and if you want to just listen and not let us know, that's okay too. But that's how we know you're here, is when you put your name in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you, Chrissy, for being here. All right. So huge topic amongst some people, some organizations, and some organizations are ostriching. Yes or no?
Throw that right under the rug. I see it so often. It's so funny because, we go in and we sit in at real estate meetings, and it's kind of being swept under the rug a little bit. Like, we don't really want to talk about it. And this is a hot topic that needs to be talked about. And I think the people that are talking about it and taking action now, you're setting yourself up to be like the winner out the gate. In my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ostriching, burying your head in the sand, sweeping it under the rug. You know, hiding with the pennies underneath our cushions isn't going to be good.
No, absolutely. I think there's a lot of, because they're not talking about it, maybe just the basics. People don't quite understand, like, what is creating, what exactly happened. I mean, there's agents and lenders out there that just don't really know, what does this lawsuit even mean?
Right. Well, a lot of people didn't even know it was happening. Or when I say people, right, realtors, lenders, I mean, they're like, you're the NAR what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. Hey, Rachel. So yes. So buyer's agency is changing as we know it, right? And we do need to address it. So I know you work with a lot of realtors. Yeah. So what are your realtors saying? Are they asking you questions? Or what's happening in your world around this? Because it's a little different for you. It doesn't affect you like it affects a buyer's agent, or even a listing agent. So what's going on in your world?
Honestly, it's not being brought up enough. So I'm starting that conversation, especially with the agents that I work hand in hand with, the ones that have been more buyer focused, especially lead focused, things like that. Because the reality is, their check is probably, if they find a way to make this work where they can still be a buy side agent and has some profitability in it, it's going to be a different. It could be an a la carte menu. It could be just completely different, right? So we're having those conversations now to really talk about what a lot of us have been talking about for a long time, which is, let's get out of that genre and let's really focus on, one, our value. We've got to get our value.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you keep going, but we're gonna circle back to that.
Yeah, right. But getting that value out there, but then also making sure that we are presenting the right business model to the people that we want to do business with us.
Right.
And that business model may not be, call me, you don't have to pay me $1 out of pocket because the seller is paying me agent. I think those days are gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That value proposition is no longer a value proposition.
Yes. There's going to be some listings where the seller is going to say, yes, I want everybody to see it. I want everybody to have the opportunity to do it. I will pay the buyer's agent, but I'm only going to pay 2% or 1.5% or 1%. And maybe then the buyer's agent asks for another percent, right? There's so many scenarios that we can have around this. We just have to know them and practice the dialogues around them.
Right. And realtors are going to have to be very careful. You have to understand that this whole thing really stemmed from two things. One, agents out there saying that they are, hey, you don't have to pay me a thing. The seller pays it. And guys, I saw that. I mean, I flip through. Of course, I get a lot of real estate on my social media, and I see it all the time. It's getting less and less. So thank goodness people are listening. Don't say that. That's not true.
No.
So that was a big one. But then you've also got the other side. They were listing agents when they're setting commissions or telling their buyers, if you don't pay a full 6%, then these agents may not show your house as much. So you have to change that dialogue. That
Yes.
you need to pay this because they're not going to show your house anymore. They're going to change that. You're not going to be able to sort that who pays the bigger commission anymore. That was kind of a big no-no, right?
Yep. Yep.
Kind of free range, and it's going to be out there and on all of the media sites to where that can't be the reason why you pay a buy side commission. It's
correct.
Seller paid closing costs, right? Oh, you need seller paid closing costs? Now let's work that into the contract.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So it's interesting. I with the clients that I coach, they're allowed SOS calls, and never in the year and a half that I've been running my own coaching company, has anybody ever abused SOS calls, and nobody is even today. However, I've never done so many SOS calls than in the last 2 weeks.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. It's just like, and I know what it is. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So interesting. One of the SOS calls is like, I just went to go show 4 homes, and 2 of the homes in the MLS said $1. So obviously the MLS hasn't caught up yet. You have to put a dollar amount or a percentage.
Right.
And so there's not like, no, you're not getting paid or whatever. So they had to put $1. So it was like, it says $1 in the MLS. I'm like, no. Well, what
you're going to have to negotiate that now. Well, first of all, you're going to have a signed buyer's agency.
Yes.
Like, who is not using buyer's agency right now? Stop. I'm not a realtor, so I'm just saying, don't be crazy. Don't waste your time. I know, Coach, you've been saying this to people forever. Like, show your value and why they need to sign this buyer's agency, and that way there is a fee that you have set up and negotiated with the buyer.
Yes.
Right.
So yes. So we're going to talk again. We're going to circle back to more of this, but having your value, knowing your superpowers, your value proposition, however you want to word it, it's got to, and it can't just be the pat, oh, I'm a good negotiator and I want to be your realtor for life and you'll always have me. And that's not going to cut it, right? That's just not going to cut it. So we have to really get unique with that, and obviously honest and clear, for sure.
And you got to know it yourself. Like,
yes.
Hey guys, if you haven't done this already, it's time to sit back and look back and say, okay, what value do I add to my buyers? Why should a buyer pay me?
Yes.
If it's going to come directly out of my buyer's pocket, let's just hypothetically say we are dealing with a 0 commission on the sell side.
Yep.
What am I great at? What am I going to do? And it's going to be different for every person, but you need to know that now. Right now, you need to know that.
Yes. And so my clients are, and I know your realtors are, right? They're working on what's my value. Having testimonials is going to be crucial. Video testimonials, written testimonials, and hey, if you want to call a few of my clients, go for it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I can't. Yeah. We were talking off camera a little bit, and I just can't say how much it is time to. Let me say it. Embrace uncertainty. Right? Yep. This is huge. Embrace uncertainty. Don't hide from it. Don't wait. Embrace it right now. Be the person that is giving that dialogue today about your value, about why you have people sign a buyer's agency right now. Go ahead and start that. Go ahead and start that with your peers. And let that be part of your dialogue today before it has to be a part of your dialogue.
Well, and I'm going to agree with you 135%. My clients my coaching clients, the ones that have been doing buyer's agency, like one of my clients in North Carolina, she's like, I'm not afraid of this. I've been doing this all from the beginning, right? Or agents in Seattle and Washington State, we've been doing this for over a year, right? And they're successful, they're busy, their commission's getting paid. So we can survive this, but it's
going to change.
It's going to change, and we can't hide from this or just think, okay, I'm going to wake up in 6 months and it's going to be over.
Yeah.
Like, nah, it's not going to, that's not going to work.
Yeah. So go ahead and look at we did a call the other day, and we were like looking at what your average commission is. And I think you go ahead and prepare that if you're heavily on the buy side, let's go ahead and assume that maybe that commission isn't going to be quite as high because the sellers aren't automatically paying 2 or 3%, right?
Right.
They're going to be paying maybe more of an a la carte type menu, which I had this.
Which is an option.
Which is an option. And how crazy would it be if you charge a flat fee for every house you show a buyer? Can I just put a cherry, like a good thing that happens from this? They're not going to have you show a bunch of houses and never buy. They're only going to say, take me out, when they actually have driven by the house. They know, they have an idea, right? So there could be some really good things that come from this. Our buy-side agents are going to have almost more of they could have more of an attorney style approach, like you're going to pay me by the hour, you're going to pay me a la carte for what you're doing. That would, if I'm a buyer's agent, I'm loving that idea.
Yes,
Like,
I am. I mean, how many times in my, my previous career where I've shown people 10 homes and they're like, okay, well, we'll think about it. We're in no hurry, right? I am sorry. I mean, right. We have to have better boundaries. We
right,
have to have better dialogues. This is going to teach us how to be better agents.
right.
And so another one of my SOS calls, well, maybe not so much an SOS call on this topic, but we started talking about it, and and I loved her confidence. She said, Tanya, I know my buyers are going to pay me, especially my repeat clients, because they know what I bring to the table. I said, great. I need you to go get them I need you to go get testimonials then on this. She was not, she's like, I know what I bring to the table. They know what I bring to the table. I have clients when we're closed, like, thank you for getting us this home. If it wasn't for you, we never would have got in it. Right. Because they're, sometimes loans go funky and then you find a lender who can deal with the funk. Right.
Sure.
Like you're so good at. So it's like she, if you're doing this by yourself, you're not going to know to do that.
No, that's absolutely
Right.
correct. And I want to circle back to the lending option. So I want to bring some reality to some of the agents that think that, well, we're just going to negotiate for the seller to pay the buyer's closing costs after the fact.
Yeah.
I know that right now this isn't as much of a hot topic because we're in such a market that sellers aren't paying as many closing costs. But you just have to remember that there are caps on what the seller can pay. VA is going to require them right now per VA guidelines that the seller would have to pay the commissions if this ever happened. I feel quite certain that VA is going to have some kind of amendment for that. FHA is the same way. Typically, it is a seller side commission. But if this world changes the way it looks like it's going to change, then that is going to be now a buyer's fee. And if the seller is offering to pay for it, it's going to go in the total caps that are out there, 3%, 4%, 6% for those buyers. So to think, I don't need to worry about this because I'm just going to negotiate for the seller to pay it all, that's all well and good if the seller's not paying anything else. But there's reasons why they can't pay it all. On loans, first-time home buyer loans, all of those loans, typically our buyers don't have the extra cash. So we're already getting every penny that we can from the seller, right? In a market that allows it.
Right, exactly.
Right? There's some juggling there. But it's just, you need to be aware that that isn't just that's not the solution. It can be sometimes. But that's not the
sometimes. Yes, we can ask the seller to pay it, or we can pay the seller to pay a portion of it, right? We can ask for credit at close that could go towards that, maybe. I don't know, right? But we need to be educated on all the options and being a good negotiator on it too.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, those are all nice options that you need to be able to sell yourself, price yourself correctly. I think that's huge. I think that's what this is all about. The fixing, when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I have been in those seats where I was going to list my house and I could have negotiated a smaller commission. I'm savvy enough to understand, but I knew that the buyers probably wouldn't show my house if I didn't have 6% seller, I didn't have that on there, and I could have a bonus for this. It is somewhat price fixing. I'm not going to argue with the ruling. I'm not. If you go and look at it, the anti-collusion laws are pretty specific, and they even get even deeper and talk specifically about real estate. So it's legitimate. So that being said, there probably needs to be some pricing adjustment for your value. I'm not saying big dollars. Who knows? It could be a 2% versus a 3%, or maybe a 1% versus a 2%. Who knows what that looks like? Maybe a flat. Maybe it's not a percentage. Maybe it's the same work or whatever the house.
But it's a dollar amount.
It's a dollar amount, right?
Yes.
So I think that if you get ahead of that now, and Tanya, you talked about this the other day, and I thought this was so true. You've got to be able to say what you're worth, but you've got to be able to know it. But right now, you need to be doing testimonials. You need to have people say at every closing, what was one thing that if you didn't have me here, you would have been stressed out over? What's my $1 million gift for you? What's the thing that was priceless? And they're going to give you that. And write it down.
Yes, write it down. Take it here. Can you say that on tape?
Yeah. Can you please record that for me, please? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can we prick your finger and put this in blood? Can you sign
it? This was not a paid commercial. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And I really think that getting ahead of it, talking about that right now is going to help leaps and bounds It's just, it's where you need to be. That's what your focus needs to be at.
So let's circle back, because I keep saying we're going to circle back on your value proposition, and I call it your superpowers. Like, we need to know what your superpowers are. Hello, Jonathan from Atlanta. So before I'm going to circle back to superpowers and your value proposition. Anybody listening, if Chrissy, Jonathan, Rachel, you want to ask a question or make a comment or tell us your superpowers, right? I'm keeping an eye on the chat. Please don't be shy. So value proposition, your superpowers, why somebody would hire you, however you want to word it, is going to make or break that buyer paying for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Charlotte, because I know you know the answer. Is what are your superpowers? Like, what makes you such an amazing lender? Why would I call Charlotte?
Yeah, so I am a firefighter, first off, so let's just start with that. That is just in my nature, which means when there is a problem, there's no hesitation. I fix the problem. That's what my team comes to me for.
Save the day.
Right? I mean, most of the time, even if I'm naked and having to run in to save the day, I'm going to do it, right? Whatever it takes. I'm going to drop everything and make it happen. So my number one superpower is a firefighter, but then I'm super creative as well. So I'm really good at seeing lots of pieces and being able to find a creative way to fix it, which is why I'm already thinking about how, for my agents, like our team is all about giving back to our agents and helping them. So this is an agent issue. Well, at the end of the day, those agents, they are my clients too. They are our people. So we have got to really help and love and make sure that they are on their best footing for us, because if they're not doing well, we're not doing well, bottom line. So I use my superpower of fixing and being creative, of thinking of how can we embrace this rather than hide from it.
Right. So yes, I agree. You're in it to save the day. Like, what was that? Adamant. Here I am to save the day. Right? That's Charlotte to a T, right? And you are creative. Some of my superpowers is I'm a phenomenal problem solver. I'm out of the box thinker. If there's a problem, I'm gonna go around every single avenue to find the solution. And another one of my superpowers is my competitiveness. I don't give up. Like, I am gonna get you to the end. No, I am going to get you there, right? And obviously, I can't always do it. Doesn't always happen. But we need to know what those superpowers are. And yes, I'm a really good negotiator. So yes, buyers want to know that you're going to negotiate a great deal for them. And if there's a problem, you've got Charlotte, who's a firefighter, Tanya, who's an out of the box thinker. We're going to get you to the finish line, right? And then that makes it easier for them to say, yeah, this is what I'm paying for, because I don't know what I'm doing on my own. Right. Unfortunately, we're going to see some, or maybe a lot more, unrepresented buyers.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, I get the case, and it's not incorrect, right? I get the lawsuit. But man, the repercussions of the lawsuit, it's kind of sucks, because there is such value in being represented. Hey,
I agree.
I know I could go and do real estate tomorrow. I've been in this business long enough, done enough. I could do that, right? I go get representation. Charlotte does, because I know the value of having that agent behind me just watching my back. So the fact that a lot of these buyers, and it will especially be effective to the buyers that don't have a lot of money for down payment, which are oftentimes your first-time home buyers. So we're really hurting the first-time home buyers are the people that have to scrape and save. It's going to be the people that need the help the most and need to not be taken advantage of the most, that are hurt. But they are the ones that this is going to actually hurt. So not that I'm not saying that makes the lawsuit incorrect. I'm looking at it. It's correct. But on the flip side of that, it does hurt who we don't want to hurt. The people that are the weakest are going to get the most. Because you know what? If I've got $1 million in the bank, I'm going to pay somebody. I'm not even going to think about it. It's not going to be an issue. But if I've been struggling just to save up my down payment, and now you tell me I need 1 or 2% more, I'm going to say, well, I'll just do it myself.
Right. Especially the ones that don't even realize what their closing costs are going to be. And I know you get that with first-time home buyers. They're like, okay, I've saved my 20%, or I've saved my 5%, or whatever they've saved. And then you share closing costs. Yeah. And that's always a shock for them. I know Jamie Jensen, I don't know if you're still on or not, but Jamie, if you are, I know this is less scary for you because you've been doing it this way in Seattle, right? And with buyer's agency and stuff. So if you have any comments, great. Or if you want to come live on another time, great. Because there are agents out there who are not freaked out by this, or they're less freaked out about it. And I know Jamie, I said in the beginning of the show, I have clients in different areas where this isn't quite so different, right? And I know Jamie is in one of those areas. So
I'm actually, when I look at this, if I could push this out to that universe, to those real estate agents, and this is what I'm trying to say, this is going to be a big change.
Yep.
Seriously, don't freak out. Yeah, it's stress. Sure, change is always stressful. I can't agree with you more. But it also, change offers opportunity.
Correct.
If everything is status quo, opportunity is less to really get ahead. It's going to be just a little ahead. This is the time for you to get, if you're not creative, go find somebody that's got a creative brain. Sit down and think, I want to do something now, and I'm going to make this something that steps me up, not sets me back. And if you do that, if you have that attitude, this is a time that you really can take advantage of it if you embrace that right now.
Right. And I'm going to kind of coach Jamie up for a minute. Number one, anybody, because I know she's got a team of phenomenal agents, is making sure that they're breathing. This is a time to kind of take a knee, breathe, right? We're going to get through this, calm them down. And I know Jamie's been on coach calls with me so I know this is not new news for Jamie. Everybody on your team needs to know their superpowers. What makes them great? What makes them unique? Right. I've talked about that till I'm blue in the face with my clients. And this is time where my clients that have leaned into it are like, oh, I already know. I've done this with you for years, versus someone like, okay, guess now I got to listen. Yeah, we got to listen. We got to know.
And change is always stressful, but coming from a lending side, we kind of went through this a little bit. Chrissy, if you're still here, now you were with it. Chrissy is with Atlantic Bay, and she's been in the business for a long time. We've seen changes on the lending side. I mean, we went from a typical commission on a mortgage loan was anywhere from 3 to 5% was the typical commission on a mortgage loan. That's what we were doing prior to the crash. Mm-hmm. That was normal. If you were getting a deal, you were getting 3. That was maybe 2 on the back and 1 on the front was a steal, right? Back in the day. That changed. Literally overnight that changed. And we went to maybe 1 to 2% maximum. If you're making 2%, you're like on the super high and not normal. You're normally around that 1% range. And you know what? Hey, realtors, we made it. We're still doing it. We're still feeding our families. We still found a way around it.
Yep.
Change happens. We embraced it. We rolled with it. And you do more. You do more.
Yes. And, I know this isn't good news, yet it's good news for the agents who are going to stay and the agents who are going to do the work to stay. NAR has 2 statistics. I was in my B&I group yesterday, and the realtor in the B&I group said that she was watching a NAR video, and they said every 15 minutes a realtor is getting out of the business. Mm-hmm. So I have not personally seen that stat, but that's what she had shared. Yeah. And what I did see, so I went to the NAR website, and NAR said 60,000 realtors got out of the business the first half of 2023 with the same projection for the last half and more for the first half of 2024. So that's sad, right? That's the statistic. However, for those of us who are going to stay in it, and for me coaching those people, I'm determined none of my clients are going to be that stat, right? Right. But that does give you more wiggle room, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not weeding out some weeds is, I don't want to be overly negative. However, it can be good, right? I mean,
I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I wish these realtors, all these newbies, I wish these unexperienced, the people that aren't doing the work, we know who they are, right? There are those around us. Every single realtor association has those. I can't tell you, every day I hear, man, I wish the bad agents would get out of the business, right? Yes, exactly, Jamie. And I hear it all the time. So now when they're complaining about this, I'm like, well, be careful what you wish for. Things happen, right? You ask for patience from God. Sometimes He gives you reasons to be patient.
Yes. And so yes, there's going to be people leaving the Realtor Association as well, and there will be realtors who are afraid of this. And I'm seeing it, You know, so yes to both. So less competition is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I survived 2008, 2009, and all my friends, I mean, I saw a brokerage that I was in that had 72 agents go down to about 30, right? During that time period. I was not a statistic. I leaned into my coach, and I survived and thrived during that market. But it was hard. I had to roll up my sleeves, not be fearful, and get through learning how to do short sales, learning how to do foreclosures, right? So we can do this again. Yeah.
I think what did we say yesterday? Vision with facts conquers fear. So have your vision of where you want to be, make it real clear, see what you want to be offering. Make sure you've got all the facts, make sure you know exactly what your value is, make sure you know exactly, be very clear in what you're asking so that you can get to that and that'll conquer your fear. That's it, right?
Yep. And I'm going to push my profession because there's a lot of phenomenal coaches out there. So if you have a coach, lean into your coach. If you don't have one, this might be good timing for a coach. Like I said, when I survived 2008, 2009, my coach Kelly is my hero. I did the work, but at least I had somebody in my corner watching my back and my front. Yeah.
Having somebody like you, if I'm an agent, I have somebody like Tanya too, because I've coached with Tanya, and I know that when I came to her with like, okay, here's my idea, somebody that knows the industry well enough to give, that's what you need, a sounding board to hear that out, think of things that could go wrong with it, and then think of things you can add to it to improve it. It's priceless, especially in a changing market. It's priceless. You need that support. So lean into your support, like 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Because right now, you know, I'm helping my clients see the forest past the, you know, the trees. Because that we get like this, and we gotta like, okay, let's breathe. Like Jamie said, we gotta breathe. Let's open it up. Let's look at other perspectives, and then you know, they'll thrive.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And your realtors are very lucky to have you because you offer them workshops. You're there. Again, you're helping them see the forest past the trees as well. And
that is one thing that we want to make sure. I mean, the team is all about making this industry fun. And if you're running into trees all the time, you're not thinking it's fun. So let's give some clarity. Let's give some value. Let's give some coaching. We're blessed to have amazing coaching and support and all of these things behind us, right? So it's really nice that we can now take that. And we, like I said, we kind of went through this, right? We've been through that. So your lenders, if you find that lender that's been in the business for a good little bit, most of my team has been in it. We've been through this, right? We've been through these weeds. So it's nice having that lender that can be like, okay, yeah, we went through this too. This is what we did. It was kind of sucky for about a year to year and a half until we balance it out. Find our footing, and then we run really fast.
And hopefully have buckets in the bank, you know, the bank accounts that we're filling.
That's right. Yes. Your coach will make sure you got those buckets. That's right. That's exactly right.
All right. So I've got your caption there on the bottom going there so people can find you, know where you're licensed and all that kind of stuff. Anything else you want to say about yourself or how people can find you that's not here that I put on the ticker?
I mean, if you really want to find the true Charlotte, we have to go with #MakingMortgageFun. If you want to search #MakingMortgageFun, spell the whole thing out, you're going to see how serious I take that we want to make this industry fun for you.
Well, I know one of your core values is fun, right?
Yes.
Since you did,
I think that's
coach you, so I know one of your core values is fun. You do make it fun. However, I don't want anybody to think that you're not serious and that
everything
you are. I know your systems. I know your back end, right? So I know just how good you are. And hey, it's okay that they know you like to dance, right?
That's it. You like to dance a little bit, but those dancing, it has facts that are absolutely 100% true. So don't be distracted. Look at the words too. It's good info. And I actually was thinking about this. I'm like, we should probably do something around this. Like, let's set that example. Let's talk about value so that agents, all of the social media right now, it's all about kind of copycatting. That's what it's all for, right?
Yeah,
and you want people to copycat you. So let's set that standard. Agents, go out there. Let's set that standard of, if you see somebody that's posting that, I'm free, surely they're not anymore. Please tell me they're not doing that anymore. But it hasn't been that long since I've seen it. Probably still out of rotation. But let's go out there and let's start some trends about look at what happened. How about we show some really funny videos of what happened when you didn't have representation? How about some horror stories? I think the Remax actually has the really cool thing about the difference in not having a realtor and having a realtor that's got like a house that's falling down or whatever,
Yeah,
right? Having that agent, I think like that's what we need to be pushing out there. So take
Yeah.
some time and show that. Show
Yeah,
it.
and again, not hide about this, right? So be on
Mhm.
social media, be on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, platform that you love to be on.
That's it.
Educate the buyers out there, educate the public, and then they're going to see, oh, you're good,
Right.
you're fun, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
That's it.
That we need it. We have to get out of the closet on this topic.
The fact that the buyers we haven't had to teach the buyers really what the value is. Some of us have done a better job than others, but for the most part, we didn't really have to. So the
Right.
fact that we're going to do that now is going to be good for the profession.
Right. Nor have buyers agents needed to, obviously now negotiate their commission, right? It's
Yeah.
just, it's there, right, in
Yeah.
the MLS, and it gets paid for. So we're going to have to work on that. And so I'm going to keep going live every Thursday, 4:00. Please keep coming back. I know next time I have a broker coming on, so we're going to, practice some dialogues. So today's biggest takeaway for me, or that I want to share, is know your value. And if you need help figuring that out, that's what we're here for, is to help you figure out why.
And don't be scared to share it. Know it and share it. It's okay.
Yes.
Share it.
So true story. So I have a coach. So I had my coach call today, and my coach was going through my social media, and he's like, Tanya, you're not sharing case studies. You're not showing success. I mean, I have some testimonials. He says, I want you to actually post case studies. I'm like, okay, right. You can't hide in the closet.
That's it. You've got to share it, because the truth is, if you know your value and you know the value is true, and I know that the clients that you coach, I know, have this down to their core, right?
Yep.
If they know their value and their value is true, they've got to share it. Don't be humble about it, because there's going to be people that fake value,
right?
And you've got to be out there making sure that yours is heard over the fake value. That's the reality, and the leads and all the crud that's out there right now.
Yeah. So 2 real quick things. I know we're going a little bit over, but here's a case study or a testimonial. I have a new client who we've been working on that. Like, what's your value? Why use you? And she's taking it very seriously. And because she's new, she's really struggling with it. So she went on a listing presentation, still wobbly. And she's like, well, they're not going to ask me this question. I'm like, well, they might not. I hope not. I didn't say that out loud, right? So she went on the listing presentation, and sure enough, it's like the universe wanted to teach her a lesson. So why would I use you versus Mary at, Remax or whatever? And she fumbled through the whole thing. However, those are lessons we learn, right? So yes, it was a little bit of a failure. Failures teach us lessons, but I promise you today, if somebody asked her that question, she'd knock it out of the ballpark. Right.
Absolutely.
So it's important. So we're going to keep talking about that value. Don't stop talking about it, Charlotte. I guess you and I are going to do some posts tomorrow on it.
I know, right? It's time to show some value. That's it.
Yep, it is time to show some value. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming and sharing and being here with us. Charlotte, thank you for your time.
Of course. My pleasure.
Yep. Bye, everybody.